Victim's a white male, late teens, early 20s. Looks like something's been shoved up his, Figure we throw this to special victims.
Good call. What kind of security does this place have?
Building's been locked up on nights and weekends, but anyone with a pocket knife can break in. I mean, who steals sewage?
Any luck IDing the victim?
No wallet, no clothes, no nothing.
Keep looking.
All right.
The diffuser creates artificial turbulence in the aeration tanks, and the swirl in action keeps solids from rising to the surface.
So that's why the body didn't float.
How long would decomposition take?
There's about 10 trillion microorganisms in that sludge. Anything organic they eat. Best guess, about a week.
Well, the body's still intact. But I bet the microbes had enough time to eat up all our trace evidence.
Well, whoever dumped our victim really knew their crap.
In New York City, sexually based offenses are considered especially heinous. These are their stories.
Hey guys, welcome to Munch My Benson. My name is Adam. I am coming to you from my mother-in-law's office in Houston, Texas. Joining me on the line is my co-host Josh. How is it up in the North Country, Josh?
Not great.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm one step removed from having been within the infection bubble of a person.
Yeah.
And I am at present as we record awaiting test results. It's been 5 days since my wife was in contact with this person, but they tested positive 2 days later, and it was 2 straight days where my wife was with that person. So fingers crossed.
Knocking on wood.
I've had who knows if it's psychosomatic or just coincidental, but I've had a sore throat for 3 days.
Yeah.
And every time my throat even itches this entire fucking pandemic, I have,
assumed.
I jumped to the conclusion that I am dying. So,
well,
I mean, I don't have it. I'm not confirmed to have it yet. If I do, the symptoms thus far have been very mild.
Yeah.
But still.
Well, that is not fun. I've had a shitload of stuff going on. We went to Austin last week for my wife's birthday. Of course, we met each other in Austin, and I lived there for 30 fucking years. One nice thing about the pandemic is if for some reason you have an excuse to travel that seems reasonable, let me tell you, hotel room rates are the cheapest I have ever seen. We stayed in a very nice place, the Line, which is the former Radisson downtown. It is a swank place, man, and we got a old school Radisson rate for it, so that was pretty nice.
I'm assuming by swank you mean Swank the magazine.
Yes, it is like Swank the magazine. No, man, it is well appointed. I was shocked.
Yeah.
I mean, first off, I was shocked that there was no TGI Fridays in the first floor, but then I was shocked at how nice it was. I mean, dogs stay for free, so that was exciting. We got to wander around kind of the old stomping grounds a bit. One great thing about Austin is that there's so much you can do outside, especially when the weather's nice. Every restaurant has a patio. Things like that. So we could basically experience Austin the way we used to, with just kind of minor differences. But I got to see some friends, which was really fun. Got to see the bats fly out, which was cool. Now Austin is different. It's kind of a cliche for people. I know we have many listeners that have spent time there,
yes.
But it is a cliche when people leave Austin and come back. They're like, oh, it's totally different. It is totally different. There are entire neighborhoods. Again, I lived there for 30 years, and there are entire neighborhoods that look nothing like they did 4 years ago, much less 20 years ago. Now, the one thing that's kind of most shocking is just how, and this is something that's always been a problem with Austin, the kind of wealth disparities in Austin. Now, it used to be that it was almost like a distance thing. So if you could live in central Austin, so to speak, you were usually fairly well off, or at least willing to live in a shitty apartment. and then kind of the poor
For
people
me, it
would
was
get,
the latter.
yeah, get kind of pushed further and further towards the fringes. That is different now. Austin's downtown it's a lot like LA. There is big homeless camps all over the place, and it really hits home how just the disparities that exist. You know, these people that live in glass fucking towers, or God, I don't even know if people live in those things. They might just be, you know, like basically tax dodges for billionaires. I think a lot of them are. There are these glass towers all over the place. Nobody goes to work in office buildings anymore. Downtown during the day is the most dead I've ever seen. It was dark. And then there's just homeless camps everywhere. It's weird.
Right. Yeah, I mean, with all the condos downtown, it was all basically just the occupancy was so low, and you know they were going for $400,000 or $500,000 for an okay condo that if you're rich enough, you can then just claim Texas as your state of residence and not spend any time there.
But yeah, it's weird. But it was nice. It was nice to see, you know, friends and family, and you know, it was nice to go out to restaurants. This is the first time I've really gone out to restaurants in a year. Feel in Galveston, it's just not worth it, right? Like even to sit outside, they're just not good enough. It's like, okay, I just cut that out of my life. But in Austin, there was, you know, it's great. So it was fun.
Yeah. You got to see friend of the pod, Divorcio Suave.
Yeah, I got to see Divorcio Suave, the man behind our intro music, which was fun. He took us out on the water. We got to see the bats fly with him. Got to see some other friends of the pod. Yeah, so that was fun. That was different. It was nice to do something like that was totally a different experience. And this is the first time I've done that in a while. We've had, I don't know, my favorite political sex scandal in years, I think. I want to say happened this week.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Matt Gaetz, if you guys aren't familiar, he is a Florida congressman who just look him up, man. It's too much
really
fun.
Look forward to the SVU about him.
Yeah, I feel like I've already seen this episode and probably dismissed it as being unrealistic. But these guys were basically paying 17-year-old girls to have sex with them and like paying them in Venmo. Basically like sending them a Venmo payment with like the message that's like eggplant emoji, peach emoji, tongue emoji, a little like sweat droplets emoji. You know, that's what they're paying them with. Yeah, not smart. Really radically not smart.
How dumb can you be?
I mean, there's a lot going on with these guys. It is something.
That's Florida.
And I guess the last thing, I mean, we're kind of racing through this stuff because there's one more thing we need to talk about because we both watched a film. I would call this cinema. It's Maniac Cop 2. It had, I think it was Michael Lerner was the thread that brought us here.
Michael Lerner was.
Michael Lerner was, I guess, the police lieutenant in this film. This movie is a wild ride. I guess it is a Robert Zedar
sort of star vehicle. He's the titular maniac cop.
Yeah. But it kind of, I think it ticks a couple different boxes for us because it is a gritty New York film from like the 80s, 90s. But
like 89, 90.
But it is also, so that kind of fits in with Shakedown and fucking Night of the Juggler. But it is also a LA for New York film, like an obvious LA for New York film, which fits in with Look Who's Talking Now, which was also a obvious LA for New York film. Because, you know what, Josh? You know what New York doesn't have? Kind of like mountain roads with the sweeping views of a reasonably small downtown.
Right.
It doesn't have that.
LA does.
Yeah.
I can speak from having lived there. Yeah.
It was a very fun ride.
It's a ton of fun. I mean, it's got Bruce Campbell. It's got Claudia Christian, who this is the second Claudia Christian movie that I've been talking about on the pod.
Really?
Because I also watched A Gnome Named Norm.
Oh, nice. She is, for those of you familiar, she is, I think, most well known from Babylon 5. Yeah, she was the main chick from Babylon 5. Man, there are stunts in this movie, though. She is handcuffed to a steering wheel outside of the car, and she is driving the car. And what's great is that it is clearly not a, 185-pound man wearing her outfit that is on the outside of that car.
Yeah. No, it's super fun.
I really enjoy Maniac Cop 2 for the shower prison scene where we see how Robert Zedar was turned into the Maniac Cop. I know Josh probably was excited to see Robert Zedar's bare naked ass, most of America.
Yeah. We were all waiting with bated breath. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it also has Robert Davi, who basically, fuck that guy. All right, well, I think we need to get to this episode because I think we have a lot to talk about here.
Yeah.
We watched an episode from season 5. Where am I? Yeah, season 5, episode 12.
Yeah.
We watched Brotherhood. And we'll just get into it. You guys will see where it's going pretty quickly. Highly recommend watching this one. It has some of the most shocking dialogue I've ever heard on network television.
Yeah.
It's a typical Sunday at the wastewater treatment plant where time plus feces equals money. One problem: a foreign object is clogging up the works. Something has been shoved into a place where it doesn't belong. In this case, it's the body of a young man dumped in one of the aeration tanks that appears to have had its own foreign object shoved where it didn't belong. In the butt. If the cold open wasn't gross enough for you, Warner gives us the dirt on our Vic. The putrefaction of the abdominal cavity means the body must have been in the tank since Saturday night. Long enough for most of the evidence on the body to decompose, but not long enough to destroy the Pyrex in his scalp, the exotic wood and horsehairs in his anus, or the frat tat on his arm, which allowed Warner to ID the Vic, a big shot at Tau Omega named Tyler Henry, who'd already been reported missing by frat brother Rob Sweeney. Rob shows Benson and Stabler Tyler's room, where they learn about his vast empire of shady revenge porn websites. He'd been raking in buku bucks from hardcore porn advertising, and even had a site devoted to his own sexual conquests, one of whom looks quite familiar to anyone who has watched sports in the last 25 years. Munch and Finn talked to a bar owner who'd seen his off-night business explode after Tyler started a wet t-shirt night at the bar. Tyler would then film the contestants and use the videos for his sites. Everybody's winning, right? Well, one young lady was not pleased about having, quote, her goods plastered all over the internet, and she sued Tyler and the bar owner. They were represented in that case by Xander Henry, who, in addition to having the most preposterous name we've seen on SVU, leads them to the plaintiff, one Chloe Spears, who is a college athlete. More on that later. Well, she was justifiably pissed at Tyler. At the time of the murder, she was demolishing an Ivy League basketball team, so she couldn't have done it. Warner provides a solid clue. The foreign object in Tyler's anal cavity was a high-end violin bow, and Finn Ex Machina manages to find a violinist who'd pledged at Tau Omega named Nathan Angeli. He'd been voted out of the frat only last week because he didn't understand the, quote, concepts of bonding and unity. Nathan's dorm roommate, Will Carey, another failed Tau Omega pledge, points Elliot and Liv towards Nathan's girlfriend, Alicia Morley, who just so happens to be another of Tyler's conquests, and who just finished a research project on the very same sewage treatment plant where the corpse had been found. Nathan and Alicia are hauled in for questioning, where Alicia fingers Will for the murder. Next we see Will. He's in Bellevue with a ruptured spleen after running his car into a wall, and he immediately confesses to the murder. Since we are already discussing bail and plea bargains, you would be forgiven for assuming that the next half hour will be filled with a by-the-numbers slog towards a dickwolf. But you would be wrong. Guys, this is the male rape trauma episode, and we are about to hear all about it. According to Will's attorney, Tyler Henry sexually assaulted Will during the pledge, including sodomizing him with a wooden paddle. George Wong's interview with Will confirms the rape trauma syndrome diagnosis, but Novak isn't convinced that his theory of the crime holds water. In her view, Will didn't fight back enough against the assault, and therefore it wasn't rape, and the hunt is now on for the bloody paddle handle to prove the case. Alicia shows up at the SVU office with the Tau Omega initiation ledger that she'd stolen from the frat. While it explains in gory detail the Desaadian perversity of the initiation rites, it is fruit of the poison tree and will be nearly impossible to use in court. Still, the ledger clearly corroborates Will's story, so while he's getting off with a light sentence, Novak turns her sights on Tau Omega. A little threatening gets Nathan to testify that Rob Sweeney was involved in all the frat's worst excesses. Rob is being represented by Tyler's dad, Xander Henry, whose ethics in taking this case are highly questionable. He's a crack attorney, though, and gets the ledger tossed. At the trial, Rob comes off as an evil little shit, but the case against him runs into a rough patch when Nathan changes his tune about the frat in a bizarre attempt to re-pledge. They really need to find that bloody paddle. Elliot checks everyone's call logs and discovers an unusual number coming from the mortuary to Xander Henry's home 3 weeks after his son's funeral. They'd been trying to reach him regarding his son's personal effects, and he brusquely told them to burn all of them. Thankfully for our case, they were still waiting in line to be incinerated by the time Elliot arrives. There, amongst a box of condoms and a high school letterman's jacket, is that awful pledge paddle, which has definitely been places the sun doesn't shine. Elliot and Xander have a heart-to-heart about how Tyler knew that Rob was sadistic, and while questioning Rob, Xander Henry accidentally on purpose gets the pledge ledger readmitted, which of course gets Rob Sweeney serious jail time. Elliot and Xander hearted out one last time, and we are left with a I'm going to need to see those TPS reports about Brotherhood, Dick Wolf.
Oh, hey, one thing. It's putrefaction.
Oh, it is. It is putrefaction, not putrefaction. That is correct. That is embarrassing. I did a foreign object sodomy reference count. Basically checking.
What, 7?
No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 22
Holy
times
shit.
in the episode was being sodomized by a wooden object.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
I would assume that's the most in network TV history.
I'm amazed that somebody didn't say, hey guys, this is like the 8 o'clock hour. I don't know if this is okay.
Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, S&P must have had fucking nightmares.
Seriously. Or they were on vacation or something when it came out.
Yeah.
30 seconds in and we get our first anal rape with a foreign object message.
Yeah. They waste no time. I suppose before we get to all the anal rape talk, we should probably talk about our guest stars.
I think that one needs to be spoken about before all the rest because I'm pretty sure this person is definitely inner circle.
Yes.
Maybe the best athlete, full stop of all time.
Yep.
Definitely more in the conversation than anybody else we've seen in an SVU. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And we're talking about Serena Williams here. Serena Williams plays the Chloe, what's her name? Chloe
Spears.
Chloe Spears. Yeah. Wow.
She is the winner of 23 Grand Slam singles titles,
Yes.
which is the most in Open era history.
Yes.
So since pros and amateurs were allowed to compete in the Grand Slam, she has the most. You can also add in another 14 in women's doubles and 2 in mixed doubles.
Yes.
I mean, like there's a very short list of people who are in the conversation for greatest athlete of all time. She is absolutely in the conversation.
Yeah. There's, I don't know that there's any other tennis players that are, and she's clearly the greatest women's tennis player of all time. I don't think that's a question.
Yeah. I mean, I think you could maybe argue Federer's in the combo, but
yeah, but yeah. I mean, or Nadal. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like
I don't
tennis,
think Nadal's in the combo.
men's tennis has great players, but just like Serena Williams has been able to dominate the sport whenever it seems like whenever she wants to, and when she doesn't want to, she may take a break for a couple of years. But yeah, and in true SVU fashion, we see a photo of her. I would call it being done doggy style. We don't see any goods on display, but
yeah,
it's definitely, I would never, I guess I wouldn't ever see LeBron James posed in such a manner, or who else? Who else can we put in that conversation?
Megan Rapinoe. I don't think they would do it to Megan Rapinoe.
No, I don't think they would either. I don't think that. I think Megan Rapinoe is from a different era at this point. So 2004, 2003, 2004 was a long time ago. In the cause of I guess
I wonder if they would have done that with like
Steffi Graf
or Martina Hingis.
Yeah.
Like, would they have done that? I don't know.
I don't know. Maria Sharapova, maybe, but I don't think she would have done it. No. She was kind of too big time in modeling, I think. Yeah, it's definitely something you don't see every day.
No, it's pretty jarring.
But let me tell you, she is stunningly ripped when we see that interview with her.
Yes. Yeah. I thought it was so I somehow did not know that she's married to the Reddit co-founder.
No, I didn't know that either. This is another thing I learned.
Yeah, not that I'm not trying to define her by other people in her life.
No, I mean,
not trying to do that. But.
So this was after this episode was filmed, right after she had won what they called the Serena Slam. So she finally won all 4 Grand Slam titles: the Australian, French, U.S., and Wimbledon. And she kind of took a break. Now, also, and she kind of stayed out of the game. Not really stayed out, but basically wasn't as dominant for a couple of years after that point. But right in that time, also, one of her older half-sisters was murdered in a really strange case. So her name was Yatunda Price. And she was murdered in Compton in the LA area. Apparently, she and her boyfriend were... And they're considered to be completely innocent in this. They were parked having a conversation or making out or something outside of a like a crack house, basically. And the people defending the crack house assumed that they were, I don't know, casing the joint or something like that. And they came out and just blew them all away. But pretty sad. But that also happened, I mean, really a couple months before this episode was filmed. It happened in September 2003. And so it's like, yeah, no shit, she took a break from the sport. Not only did she like reach the mountaintop, she won all the Grand Slam titles, but also her sister died in pretty horrible fashion. And so she took a little break. And really, I mean, Serena Williams, just the coverage of her has been kind of brutal over the years. Just the double standard about her mental part of the game, which I think is kind of, you can't question. It's just the level of dominance that she shows, she still does, is like nothing else in any sport, really. I mean, maybe Jordan did it for, 8 years.
Yeah.
Serena Williams been doing it for 25.
Yep.
Anyways. So she's in the episode, and it's pretty strange, and she's not in it for very long, but there is one very compromising photo of her that is not, she's not like featured on the screen. It's like there's 6 in a website, kind of, like thumbnails, but one of them is totally Serena Williams.
Yep. So moving off of the possible GOAT, moving off of the possible greatest athlete of all time, we've got Gary Cole, who's playing Xander Henry.
Yep.
He was at Illinois State in the late 70s and early 80s, and then the Steppenwolf Company with both of those times he was there with Laurie Metcalf and John Malkovich.
Okay.
He's probably best known as either Bill Lumbergh in Office Space, Mike Brady in the Brady Bunch movies, or Kent Davidson in Veep, the last of which he was nominated for Outstanding Guest Actor Emmy and won a SAG Award for Best Ensemble Cast. He had recurring roles on Suits, The West Wing, The Good Wife, and Entourage. Personally, I think the best work he did was in the 90s Southern horror series American Gothic, which I've talked about here before, where he plays the evil sheriff, who sure seems like he's the actual devil incarnate. He also does a ton of voice work, like so much voice work. He is Harvey Birdman.
He sure is.
He's Harvey Birdman, attorney at law, and he voices recurring parts on Archer and Bob's Burgers. Yeah, he's ubiquitous.
Yes,
he is
he's everywhere. He's literally everywhere. Speaking
yeah.
of Bob's Burgers, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess the kind of weird, like next to Serena Williams having a bit part, the next weirdest bit part is Kristen Schaal as the mortuary attendant.
Yeah.
This is like
her fourth credit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's also ubiquitous. She's a
huge alt comic. You've seen her in everything. She's a stand-up, a writer, a performer. She wrote a sex humor book called The Sexy Book of Sexy Sex with her future husband, former Daily Show writer Rich Blomquist. She was a special correspondent on The Daily Show. She was Mel in Flight of the Conchords and Carol Pilbazian in The Last Man on Earth. She does a ton of voice work, most notably as Sarah Lynn on BoJack Horseman, Mabel Pines on Gravity Falls, and Louise Belcher on Bob's Burgers also.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, she's in so much stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I guess next Eldon.
Yeah, Eldon Henson.
Yeah, he plays Will Carey, the raped and raper.
Yeah, I think he's most recognizable for playing Fulton Reed in the Mighty Ducks trilogy, and he was Foggy Nelson in Daredevil, and then played Foggy Nelson through the rest of the MCU. Whenever he pops up, so
yeah, but he's also been in a ton of other things, Dumb and Dumber and Lords of Dogtown and a bunch of other shit like that. His roommate was played by Noah Fleiss, who has also fairly recognizable. He was in Brick. He was Tugger in Brick, the Joseph Gordon-Levitt fucking whatever suburban drug dealer movie.
It's Ryan Johnson, like contemporary film noir. It's. I know you hate it, but you're like the only person I know who hates that fucking movie. It's so fucking good.
It's just because I have a visceral hatred of Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It's not the film's fault, but
the movie's so fucking good. Anyway, everyone should watch it and ignore Adam. So Noah Fleiss also had a part in Storytelling, the Todd Solondz movie. I do not remember the movie well enough to remember who he played. He's in a later episode of SVU called Catfishing Teacher from 2016. He's also the titular Sam in Josh and Sam, which is like a road movie where it features like a young Jake Gyllenhaal, Stephen Tobolowsky's in it, Martha Plimpton's in it. His brother, who he goes on this road trip with, is played by Letterkenny co-creator Jacob Tierney, which I was kind of shocked by.
Interesting.
We've got Clayton LaBeouf, who is playing Vernon Spears.
Serena Williams' dad is played by Clayton LaBeouf. Kind of a mind melter right here.
Total brain melter here because this is like a double brain melter because he was Orlando in The Wire.
Yes,
but he's also Colonel George Barnfather in both Homicide: Life on the Street, the series, and the movie.
Yes,
like he's in 30 plus episodes of Homicide.
Yes,
so he's very, very much a recognizable person in the Munchiverse, and if I'm not mistaken, it is Munch and Finn who are questioning him.
Yeah, he's been in 45 episodes of television that Munch was in that world. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So, kind of a problem.
No. Not only did Munch and Finn interview him, but he took a shot at Munch. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
A guy on his own unit in Homicide: Life on the Street.
Yeah. So then he also appears. He appears in pretty much all of the David Simon stuff. He plays Benjamin Hooks in Show Me a Hero, and he was Scoogie in The Corner. He's appeared in 2 episodes of Criminal Intent and one of the Law and Order original series.
And he was in The Meteor Man too, which
He
which
was.
is a
I
fun
noticed
movie.
that.
Yeah, I don't think he had a very big part, but it's a fun movie.
No. Yeah, because that's his first credit, I believe.
Yeah.
Then I've only got 2 more left. I've got Pell James, who's playing Alicia Morley. She was one of the victims. I think it was Cecilia Shepard in Zodiac, and she was. I closed her page. I didn't write her character's name down.
She was in the
But
Lincoln
it was Cecilia
Lawyer.
something.
Yeah. Where Zodiac? You're talking about Cecilia Shepard in Zodiac. She was Lorna in the Lincoln Lawyer. She was Sun Green in Broken Flowers. Not like big parts in any of these, but in them.
Yeah. Yeah, and she had bit parts in Fanboys and Peppermint also. Peppermint was kind of okay, I guess. And then lastly, I've got Toby Moore, who doesn't really have many credits. He's playing Rob Sweeney. The thing that I thought he was in that was sort of interesting, I haven't seen it, but Peter Yates in 2003 did a TV movie adaptation of the John Knowles novel, A Separate Piece. Which it also featured Jacob Pitts, who friends of Justified or fans of Justified would recognize, and then it's got Aaron Ashmore, Allison Pill, and Hume Cronin in it. So
I guess the last one we could mention is Jefferson Slinkard, who was the bartender at what I would call the second rapiest bar in New York City.
Moose at Moose's Bar.
He's been in 2 episodes of SVU. He comes back in 2009 for an episode called Zebras. He's also in an episode of Criminal Intent. He's been in a couple other things, not too much. The one that he was in Catch Me If You Can, but the one that looks interesting to me is called Season of the Hunted. And I will read you the tagline from IMDb. Hillbillies with internet access use a website to lure sportsmen to their isolated cabin with the promise of cheap room and board, and then release them into the woods and hunt them. This is directed by Ron Sperling. So it seems like a kind of cut rate. What was it called? The
Most Dangerous Game.
Yeah, Dangerous Game. Exactly. So it seems like a kind of low budget Dangerous Game.
Yeah.
But that's all I got for that. I did look up the one address, which was Moose's Bar, and it's at 536 Hudson Street, which would place that square in the West Village. It actually, that address, is in the middle of an intersection, but that doesn't matter. It's Hudson and Charles Street. But the closest place to it is a pretty shitty-looking sports bar called Baird's Ale House. So kind of fits the bill. Being in the West Village, you could squint and see it being frequented by NYU students, although
it'd be kind of a walk though.
It'd be kind of a walk. It's not exactly where like the dorms would be.
Yeah.
They would be kind of more on the other side of Washington Square Park. This is the west side. There would be more by Astor Place. That's where you kind of think of like the NYU drag of, the University District. It is also just kind of a block away from the White Horse Tavern, which is, I think we've talked about it before, actually. Yeah, the one where it's, I guess, most well known for where... what's his name? Dylan Thomas.
Go home, Jack.
Yeah, Jack Kerouac drank, and Dylan Thomas famously drank
himself to death there.
Yeah, exactly. It's a stretch of bars nowadays, kind of mostly at least yuppies and tourists. But at one point, the intelligentsia would drink there.
I have to say that I have a hard time buying Moose as the proprietor of a bar like this in this neighborhood.
Yeah, so yes, Moose looks like a discount version of Ogre from the from the Revenge of the Nerds series. I forget the actor's name, but
he looks like he would if he owned a bar. It looks like it would be a roadside bar that a bunch of bikers go to.
You know what?
That's the bar that Moose owns.
Yeah, it looks like a bar that Patrick Swayze would redo the security for. That's what it looks like.
Right. It's where he went. He is the proprietor of a bar that Swayze goes to, that Dalton goes to after the Double Deuce.
Yeah, exactly. Or that he stops at for a beer when he's trucking in Black Dog. This is definitely a late Swayze establishment. There is chicken wire around the bandstand at
around
this bar.
where the band's playing.
Not college night.
Also, what bar in this, like, since the turn of the century, was doing wet t-shirt nights and was doing that with the concept of their wet t-shirt concept is straight up like, okay, we're gonna get them in and get them drunk and then get them naked. It's like the whole business model is date rape. That is the business model. Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, it is built on the back of date rape.
Wow. Salute to the writers for coming up with this shit.
So I guess we should get into the episode notes, huh?
Yeah, so the first notes I have are about wastewater treatment because somebody did their homework on this.
I went down. I had to pause it immediately. I was like, I don't know. I feel like a diffuser motor is just made up bullshit.
It's not. It's totally not bullshit.
No.
Now the thing is, they are kind of discussing how the mechanism of wastewater treatment works, and I did some research on this. You have different places have different steps, but the first step is screening. So large objects like logs or dead bodies get screened before it comes into the wastewater treatment plant.
Yeah.
And then it kind of gets pumped around through these various tanks, which just moving around makes most of the large solids kind of precipitate out. They fall to the bottom as it's moving around. And then while you're doing that, you want to aerate it or diffuse oxygen into it. That increases the bacterial load in the water, which helps break down the smaller solids.
But it does also help keep the solids down.
Yeah.
Right? Doesn't the aeration also help prevent floating?
I think so. But my understanding I did not do a huge dive into this, but my understanding of this mostly just moving water around eventually causes larger things to fall down.
You're not going to try to get a job there when you move to New York?
I mean, the smell can't be great, but it was kind of cool building.
Yeah. That body in the sewage was disgusting.
Yeah, that was gross. That was really gross.
Shit.
That's really
Good
gross.
job, art department.
Yeah, really gross. They brought inconsistent work from them in this one. We'll get to what I think is a big fail on their part later, but we're not there yet.
Yeah.
The body was disgusting. Let's just say that the responding police officer immediately knew that there was something shoved in the butt, which I don't exactly know.
He clearly looked at the butt.
That's the first thing he says to Stabler.
Oh yeah, there was stuff in the butt. There's so much talk of that in this episode. I really like the Stabler line, whoever dumped our victim really knew their crap.
Yeah, no, that was great. That was a classic cut to credits line. Just real quick. So I wanted to make sure that I was I was discussing this episode with the proper decorum. And so I looked up what I should say when we're discussing this. And I believe it is, the proper terminology is forcible penetration with a foreign object. And just so you know, if you guys are in eastern Los Angeles County or in Riverside County, there's a defense attorney in Temecula that specializes in forcible sexual penetration with a foreign object defense. So yeah.
Wait, in the defense?
Yes, it's a defense attorney that specializes.
I don't think that anyone who's doing that should listen to this podcast. Please don't. My next note is Tau Omega again.
Yeah. Is Tau Omega the frat in a different episode that we've seen?
It is indeed. So clearly they must have done someone some serious wrong. This is at least the second time they've meant to have been the target of our ire. We definitely crossed paths with Tau Omega in Melancholy Pursuit, the Dodds-isode that we covered back in Munch My Benson 40. Maybe they just assumed there was semen because Warner's there.
So
yeah.
I did do a little bit of just a cursory check to see if this was potentially a rip from the headlines thing. And there was a death at a State University of New York campus in 2003, September 2003, in a frat hazing incident. But it did not have anything to do with foreign object penetration. So it was probably just, I don't know. It's probably just
maybe a loose inspiration, but
I feel like this is a staple of their their storytelling.
So per the Law and Order fandom wiki, they say Tyler Henry was the Panhellenic Council treasurer.
Yeah.
He can't have been, because that's the National Organization for African American Fraternities and Sororities. And unless there's like a whole different special level of white privilege going on there, he cannot have been that. So the non-African American council is called the Interfraternity Council. So that would be the primary organization for men's fraternities.
I mean, you don't know if Tau Omega has a stomp team or not. You know, it's possible. It's possible they're out there.
Yeah. There was one black pledge.
There was. Okay, so that was one thing I want to bring up. It was like an oddly diverse pledge class because there was
not just that, oddly old.
That's what I was
because they were all very clearly mid-20s at least.
That was where most of the diversity was. Yeah.
Yeah, two of them looked like straight up 30.
I thought that so the fat guy and the black guy I think could easily have been in their mid-30s, and two of the other ones were pushing 30 at best.
Right. The guy who was wearing sort of the suede Sherpa jacket, he looked to me like he's been in another episode and I cannot fucking place him, but he had a speaking part in the other one.
So we couldn't find him in this one.
Yeah, I can't find him. It sucks.
Yeah.
I know I've seen him somewhere else. Maybe he's just, one of those really good background actors that you recognize.
Yeah, but the two in the foreground, the one who had the actual speaking role, they were both believably, I don't even know that I would say believably college age, but at least believably young
I don't
20s.
think he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he looked like he was 24.
Yeah.
Yeah. We find out very quickly that Tyler's a total piece of shit.
Oh my God.
Our victim is not defensible at all.
No. He owns a website called The Rack Menagerie, which is great name for a website. Great name for a revenge porn website.
It's
classy, Josh.
It's not even revenge porn. It's like there's no like revenge motive. It's just this guy's a fucking exploitative piece of shit. This guy is Joe Franklin.
You're right. He is an exploiter. It's not that it's revenge porn. It's just like anything that women will give him, he will turn around and try to make a buck off of it. And also to prove to his buddies, how he's getting banged by quite possibly the greatest athlete of all time. And a chick with pink hair. But
her also.
His other website is called Tyler's Free Funhouse, which is I think a throwback to Web, and which we called
No, it's a throw forward.
It is a throw.
Season 7,
Web is whenever I get touched in an unsafe way, I say yes, and then I make a mess. That was, of course, Connor Paolo's Funhouse. I think he called it. Didn't he call it the Funhouse?
Yeah, it was Freddy's Funhouse.
Freddy's Funhouse. That's exactly right. Yeah. A little bit.
I'm just going from memory. I think that's what it was called.
A little bit more adult web design in this one, I would say. Now.
But I don't think the web design was better.
No. I think it was better.
The web design looks like shit in this, but
no, it looks dog shit. But it looks. It's.
I guess it's apt. It like web design of these sort of sites did look like shit back then. So.
Yeah, exactly. It looks believable. And really, I didn't have too many notes about it because none of the tabs were odd. They just
Yeah, there weren't weird tabs for you to.
Though-
there weren't weird site menus for you to marvel at.
no, but second unit did go absolutely insane with this. Are we to assume that they held a wet T-shirt contest because one of them was like 4 or 5 different picks of a wet T-shirt contest, and they were lewd. Like they starred out.
I feel like that was actually probably. I would assume that was cleared copyrighted material.
Okay.
I
Okay.
can't imagine they actually had a fucking second unit go out and do that. I would imagine that was just like cleared images.
Okay, because they had
They probably
stars
went to-
over
I'm
nipples.
sure Getty
and-
has ton of them. I'm sure Getty has tons of wet
Jesus.
t-shirt pics in their fucking massive catalog of.
Munch then says, "We live in perverted times, my friend," and
Yeah, Munch says a lot of things in this episode. I was kind of disgusted by most of them. The latent misogyny comes through kind of a lot in this one, and you see, oh yeah, this is why this guy's been divorced thrice. But
yeah, he doesn't exactly come off as really understanding of the issue. He basically is like, no, it's women's fault that that people exploit them their sexuality for money. That this guy's making like $40,000 a year by drugging them and taking pictures of them in compromised situations. It's their fault.
yeah,
It's pretty fucked up.
Yeah. So, did you see Serena actually shoot the basketball?
She didn't have a great jump shot, I would say.
No, very bad form. Yeah, they definitely framed it in a way that like you had to pay close attention to see how poorly she shot a basketball.
It wasn't like Sean Marion weird, but it was like not for how athletic she is. It was not an athletic jump shot.
Okay, so God damn it. So when we cut to Warner's talking about she's got the results back and the 2 kinds of fibers in your victim's anal cavity line.
2 kinds of fibers in your victim's anal cavity. It took me all day to match the samples with anything in our library. Plate A is a strand of hair.
Killers?
Only if he's related to Seabiscuit. The hair found in your victim is horsehair, Mongolian stallion to be precise.
So maybe a sex toy, a whip, or a cat of nine tails?
Not a bad guess. A lot of floggers are made with horsehair, usually attached to leather, though. Our horsehair was bound to a rare wood known as Pernambuco, imported exclusively from Brazil for the manufacture of violins and violin bows.
He was sodomized with a violin bow?
That's really something.
The bells are
this is why we
dinging.
watch this show.
The bells are
This is why we
dinging.
watch this. Holy shit. And then Mongolian stallion hair. Like, what?
I know, which just is such a lurid description. Really brings your mind to a wild place. But they bring it back.
Oh yeah, because you're like, wait, how did they get a horse tail up that, or worse, a horse cock?
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, he got raped by a violinist, and that like takes you down a whole different fucking path. Once, like, it's so fucking insane. You're thinking, wait, did Joshua Bell rape him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, but so Pernambuco was the wood found in his anal cavity. Led me down a little Pernambuco deep dive. So
I'm glad.
yes, it is. Nowadays, it is most well known as being used in violin bows, and that is because it is nearly extinct. So it's very expensive stuff now. But it is also known as Brazil wood. In fact, the country Brazil gets its name from this kind of tree. So when the Portuguese first came to Brazil, there was large forests of this stuff along the coast, and its sap produces a very red color, which can be used as a dye, which in Portuguese was, hold on, let me figure out what it's called. It really doesn't matter what it's called. Something in Portuguese that I can't pronounce very well.
Yeah,
but
you're going to have to put like a sock in your mouth to say it anyway, so.
But Brazil was the name of the tree before it was the name of the country, and that's where Brazil comes from. Interestingly enough, now it is so rare that it's really only used in very high-end applications. Violin bows being the kind of the most well-known of them.
Yeah.
But it is gorgeous stuff. It's beautiful wood.
This brings me, I guess, I'm going to skip ahead and then jump back, but this brings me to the, hey, it's the violin cops line.
Yeah.
I'd love to watch that show.
No, what I found was interesting is how, like, one has in one's mind, I would call like stereotypes. You kind of place things into different buckets, and you make assumptions about people and about things without knowing too much about them. And I make assumptions about pledge raping frat boys, and it's a different category than multi-earringed violinists. That's how I would put it. I would say that those are two different circles that do not connect. So, okay, so this is also, we're talking about Greenwich Village, New York City. So even if they're not talking about NYU, which is well known for its, arts and communications programs, we're still talking about like New York fucking city, where I would absolutely believe that a student at a big university there would have a $3,000 violin bow.
Oh, yes. No question about that. Would they be also in a frat?
No! I don't.
No.
I have a hard time believing most people going to schools in New York City, maybe Columbia, because you got legacy shit.
Yeah, it's Ivy bullshit.
Yeah, you got Ivy bullshit, legacy shit. But no, that's not why you go to school there. You go to fucking Rutgers or something if you want to have a fucking frat experience.
And even then, I can't imagine the frat scene's huge at Rutgers, but
I don't know. I mean, Jersey's weird though.
I mean, to me, the frat scene seems so much bigger in the South. But...
Yeah, I mean, and that's what this frat seemed like a fucking. It's like I could see those guys at UT Austin. I could see that frat house at UT Austin. Sure. That's what it looked like. Yeah. It looked like shitty, falling apart buildings in West Campus that don't really exist anymore, but used to when I was that age.
Right.
And
or those trashy ones that you would drive by on the drag on the on the east side of the drag north of the dorms.
Yes, exactly. Those places. Yeah. And they have some huge party, and it's like you live close enough to them that you've got like detritus in your driveway every morning or
you sadly work close enough to them that then you have to deal with those douchebags on a fucking once a week basis.
At one point I
decide to wander in.
I live right next door to one of those fucking places, and they had a crawfish boil, which ended up being a crawfish fight at about 3 a.m., which is the first time I ever had to use my dad voice. I said, "You kids need to cut that shit out this instant."
Did you lived in a co-op, didn't you?
I did live in a co-op. I lived in the 21st Street co-op, which was actually one of the only purpose-built co-ops in the United States. It was built by co-opers to be a co-op. Most of them are like, I don't know, a house just gets turned into a co-op.
Right.
Yeah, I did live there for a minute. Don't recommend it if you're my age with a child, but it was fun when I was 19.
No. I bet. So, like that confession when he's going into surgery on a gurney, like that wouldn't be admissible, right?
So yeah, I don't think that would be admissible. And also we had already talked about the art department makeup effects.
Yeah.
I thought that the makeup effects on Will in that scene were lazy at best. They basically
it looked like they slapped ketchup on
they
his
smeared
chest.
Red on his face and upper chest.
Sure.
And there's not like later on they have like a kind of raised, I don't know, like it looks like an actual wound or something, but like not in the scene where he's going into the surgery.
No, not when they're fresh wounds.
Yeah.
It also doesn't it seem weird that he's nips out on a gurney being taken to surgery out in the open, like where Stabler and Benson can question him.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he has nips out. The blanket over him on the gurney is really only up to like his rib cage.
Yeah.
Very odd shot. I was not expecting to see Eldon Henson nips in this episode. Free the nipple, guys. Jumping back, because like we sort of the violin stuff I wanted to bundle together, but jumping back, Rob Sweeney, who's a real shitheel.
Yeah, he's a shithead.
When he's trying to claim like fraternity pledge privilege or some shit, it is such a fucking eye roll moment where you're like, this fucking privileged piece of shit.
Like I despise police brutality, but I was really hoping that there would be some police brutality against this piece of shit.
Yeah, and then like he says that fucking Nathan, pledged Nancy, Noah Fleiss' character, was voted out because all he did was whine. And then like very shortly thereafter we find out that, oh yeah, he's whining because fuckface Tyler, who is dead, but still a piece of shit, wanted everyone to watch a video of him boning fucking Nathan's girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
Like, what the like? How is that building brotherhood?
No, it doesn't seem like it's a great thing to do. Now, one thing I would notice that Nathan clearly had a like pink hair fetish, because when Elliot and Benson go to the dorm room where they meet Will, there are two posters on the wall. Now, the first one is two very kind of like, it's weird because it's two like totally normal looking women with pink hair. It's not like titillating or interesting. It's just two chicks with pink hair.
Okay.
And the next one, though,
not notice this.
Yeah, the next one is pretty wild. It's a poster of most likely nude, but possibly in a bikini. Is a little hard to tell given the image quality. Yeah. She's wearing a cowboy hat, and she's like aiming a pistol at what seems to be a computer or maybe just a board that's like sitting in between her legs splayed apart. And she seems to be sitting on the Bonneville Salt Flats. And the caption says 3 holes down, which is, what the fuck does 3 holes down mean? Because it sure seems to reference foreign object penetration to me.
Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't make any sense to me.
No.
Have you been to the Bonneville Salt Flats?
No,
they're really cool.
No, I never have. I've never been
just there in August.
I've never been west of Salt Lake City in Utah. Actually, or at least in northern Utah. I've been west of it in southern Utah, but not northern Utah.
Right. Yeah, Zion and whatnot.
Yeah, St. George. Been to St. George.
I've stayed the night in St. George multiple times.
Yeah.
I kind of liked, or I thought it was funny that Novak was arguing that Will's a significant flight risk, like while he's in traction. Like, what the fuck's he flying to?
They literally brought the judge to the hospital room to do this hearing.
Yeah. Hilarious.
Which the judge, that was pretty funny. He was like, "Can I get the hell out of here already?"
Yeah. Like, this isn't where I'm supposed to be. This isn't the courtroom.
Now,
I liked Ned Eisenberg, who's back as Roger Kressler.
I was going to say Ned Eisenberg had me laugh so hard last night while I was writing these notes, like in the middle of the night next to my wife who was trying to sleep. I'm sitting there taking notes, and then just out of the blue, Ned Eisenberg says to Novak,
You know what teabagging is?
Do I want to?
Tyler Henry made his pledges get on their knees so he could rub his testicles across their faces.
Disgusting, but not rape.
He sodomized Will with a pledge paddle. That is rape.
Can you prove it?
Yeah. And then he goes with a Peyton Manning version of teabagging, not the balls in the mouth variation on the theme, which is disappointing to me, I guess.
It was more of I would say it was more
because I have to think about that piece of shit Peyton Manning.
But it's more of a car wash.
But like, why? Okay, the best thing about that is that it's not germane to the sexual assault at all. No. Like, he proffers that just willfully, and then is like, oh, but my client was also raped with a pledge paddle.
Yeah, like that he brings up later. That's the second thing he brings up.
No, his opening foray is teabagging. Yeah, which again. I mean, it absolutely is sexual assault. I'm not. It is, and Peyton Manning's a piece of shit, and he's a sexual assaulter.
Sure is.
But this is like start with the big shit there, Kressler.
Oh.
Like, I mean, I'm again totally glad that they went into teabagging because that was delightful.
I mean, I'm telling you, it goes off the rails with the lines that are spoken in these courtroom scenes. Like, Will, he was just lying there. Why did you I think this was Wong saying, Will, he was just lying there. Why did you sodomize him with a violin bow? Then we hear about the instructions for how to date rape women in the pledge manual, whatever is the initiation guide.
The ledger.
That's right. Pretty odious shit. Pretty odious shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tyler got off easy with death by blender bludgeon, but
I do feel like SVU is kind of towing a fine line here. While I think their target audience is probably older people, they're basically giving a handbook for how to rape people in this. Like, spike a girl's beer with grain alcohol and watch her eyes roll over. Tell her she can sleep it off upstairs and let the games begin. Just make sure you dress her again when you're done.
Every fucking word that comes out of that ledger is fucked. Now, I will say that, like, the way the ledger is written, you feel like it would actually be more lewd, but they're kind of stuck by being on network television.
Yeah.
Like specifically when he's having to read it.
And he says
when
weenie.
Rob is having to read it.
Yeah.
And he says jammed it in him.
Yeah, they wouldn't say in
instead
him.
of, he would say in his ass.
You would think.
But again, we're on network television.
Yeah, they already used crap once in the episode. I don't think there's too many times they can go back to that well. Oh no, I guess they actually used crap a few times. He'll crap blood tomorrow, but we'll make a man out of him yet. The thing that I think is the grossest aspect of this episode is once Elliot finds the paddle, and every time it's on screen, it's on screen a couple times. Every time it's on screen, it is being held in such a way that it looks like a cock, kind of. I mean, it looks like a brutal version of a cock. And everybody's eyes on screen are just locked on the thing. So whether it's Kristen Schaal or, Maloney or the people in the courtroom.
Well, everyone but Kristen Schaal knows where it was.
Exactly. Everybody knows.
Yeah.
And everybody is horrified by it.
I would just like to say that I really liked getting Kristen Schaal as the diligent crematorium attendant.
I know, she was great. She was really great.
Yeah.
So can we rank it? I think we can rank it, right? I think we're at the point.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're at the point
already beginning to talk about it. So, of course, every week we rank these, and we do it on, we have a 10 points scale. We have 4 criteria that we judge it on, and we're trying to get it to fit inside the canon of, the pantheon of SVUs. Like, where does it match up? And I got to tell you, it's not perfect.
No.
But it's got a lot going for it, I think. So
yeah, it's fun. It's got a bunch of guest stars. Like, this is one of the most, at least for like me watching.
Yeah.
This is a lot of guest stars where it's like, oh fuck, oh great, awesome, oh cool, them too.
Yeah. It's not like the mega star, but it is close. Because I don't know. Lumberg is an iconic film role, and Kristen Schaal's been
and I fucking love Veep,
and and Clayton LaBeouf kind of hits that thing that we love.
Scratches that itch for us. Yeah. No, but like I think the episode is solid. It's not great, but
it is.
I would probably say like a 7 overall quality.
Yeah, I think 7 works. I was going to say 6 or 7 because it is like it's not like completely insane as far as just the like you're laughing the whole time.
Right, but it does have.
But
it's professionally done, and it has like a through line that like the entire episode makes sense, and like the arc of the episode doesn't have like some fucking crazy left turn. Like, it's really servicing one plot. And
we're in the courtroom after like less than 15 minutes. I didn't write down exactly when we first see Novak, and it's not boring at that point, which oftentimes
it's shocking. Yeah, it's shocking to see an episode that doesn't fall on its face when you're in the courtroom before minute 15 or so.
Yeah, exactly. It's like 2 commercial breaks and we're in the courtroom. Okay, so we already kind of like touched on the guest stars. Obviously, Kristen Schaal is fantastic in that small part.
Yeah, I love.
So is Clayton LaBeouf, taking a swing at Munch. I thought his part was fun and could have gone on farther. Gary Cole, I think, is great as the shitty lawyer frat boy dad. Everybody kind of the one that doesn't really ring that true to me is fucking Noah Fleiss. I think he's a good actor, but I think he's kind of miscast.
I think he's fundamentally miscast. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's not his fault. But
I think they didn't have Serena Williams do a lot, which is probably good. Because obviously she's not an actress. So, and then I did have a quibble. I thought that when he's on the stand having to read from the ledger, I thought Tui Moore did not stick that landing.
No, it could have. Yeah,
I
apart.
thought it was bad.
Yeah,
I thought his performance there was just plain not good at all.
Yeah, he did much better as the smug shithead than when he tried
smug
to actually
shithead,
show.
He was pulling all of that off with ease, with aplomb.
Yeah,
and then he
emotion.
That.
Didn't really work for him.
No.
So, and that was, I guess, the climax.
That's a pretty important scene.
Yeah, that was the climax.
So to like sort of like biff the landing there, it definitely hurts in this category.
So, I mean, what do you think? My inclination is to give it a 7 also for guests, because I think
I'm good with 7
because I think there's more pluses than minuses, but it's not perfection by any means.
Yeah. And I mean, Eldon Henson's kind of just okay in this too.
He's fine.
But I think 7's good.
He's fine.
I think 7 works.
I think for as good as I think Gary Cole is the best one that has a lot of screen time. The other ones that we really like are in one scene basically, or are
pretty much
like Serena Williams just being Serena Williams, not for her acting, but
But unsurprisingly, Gary Cole brought it.
Yeah, he's great. And Ned Eisenberg, wow.
He really slayed his like 2 scenes. Pretty great.
I mean, usually the defense attorneys, they're there. We recognize them. Occasionally we note them, but wow. I woke my wife up laughing at like 12:30 last night.
Oh yeah, I mean, god damn it! Once he goes into teabagging, it's just gold.
So speaking of teabagging, Josh, was this episode problematic? I don't see how we can't give it a 10, frankly.
I mean, my initial reaction was probably it's an 8 or a 9, and then when you gave me the count,
I was having a running tab, and for the most part,
when you gave me the count of forcible penetration with a foreign object references, and it's 22. That's bonkers.
I mean, sometimes that's like the pledge ledger. I didn't write down each one, but sometimes it's like Sometimes it's like he was raped with a paddle, or sometimes we stuck it in there. Sometimes it was he's not going to be able to, he's going to be crapping blood tonight. But
you're still visualizing a lot of awful shit.
Yeah, and there is significant screen time given to main characters staring at the object that was forcibly inserted into Eldon.
Like they picked the thing that was just phallic enough to put the image in our head every time we see it, but not phallic enough to get nixed by S&P. It's not a dildo,
but it's close.
But it may as well, it's worse. It's worse than a dildo.
It hurts more.
It just doesn't look quite as much like a dick.
So for me, that shit is problematic, and Ned Eisenberg's detailed description of teabagging is also pretty problematic. And
I mean the Eldon Henson nips out Gurney shot, everything going on in the bar.
Yeah, everything going on
in the bar, and Tyler's whole side business is like wildly problematic. This is like across the board. This is as resoundingly problematic and kind of like problematic across the board as this show really can get.
I think as a like network TV show can get, without you're getting into some pretty dark stuff if you get much past this one.
For sure.
Now the depth and breadth of lives ruined. There's definitely some lives ruined in this one, right? Like, fucking was Eldon Henson's
a whole teabagged frat.
The whole frat gets teabagged. Like every one of those like 35-year-old men has been teabagged by Rob Sweeney.
Yeah, they've all been to the Rob Sweeney car wash. Tyler's dead.
Serena Williams, sex tape on the internet. Dozens of young women.
Dozens of young women victimized.
Yeah. Tyler's dead. What's his? God, why do I always forget his fucking name?
The little bit of the tape that they did show of Tyler, saying, "Oh, this girl from Chicago" or whatever, and then they come in and immediately that is the weirdest the weirdest like lead up to sex that I think I've ever seen anywhere. Like they just like they meet in the middle of the bed on like standing, but like on their knees. Yeah.
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah, no, and she's supposed to be underage, right? She's a freshman, so it's like
so not underage,
but damn close, 18.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah,
yeah, 18.
Yeah,
Yeah, 18,
not
maybe
Matt
19.
Gates young, but
no. Not young enough for that piece of
not
shit.
Jerry Seinfeld young, but close.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, we didn't even talk about that. Yeah, that. What the fuck is going on with that one? Just everything about that scene is completely insane. Do they have her name? That must be. I mean, lots of people's lives are getting ruined by this. What do you want to put a number on this one? It's not.
It's not
hooked.
Crazy. No. It's not hooked. It's not. It's not a 10. It's not.
No, Will's life is pretty fucking ruined, though, right? He's going to jail for a number of years. He was.
Yeah, he's going to jail.
Viciously raped by that paddle.
Viciously raped. Yeah. It's probably like a 7 or 8.
So you think what were you saying, a 7?
Yeah, I think 7 probably is what makes sense to me.
Okay, that is not a good comparison. Because there's a goddamn robot from Rocky IV, and they did not use it, which was the real fake news. That we gave it bumps because our lives were ruined by not seeing the robot.
That's true, yeah.
The Michael Pitt episode, Prodigy, we gave a 7 to. I think the body count was higher in that one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, because he'd killed 10 people. Hadn't he killed 10 people?
Yeah, I believe so. So the body count was much higher in that one, but I don't know. There's something about the foreign object raping that is just so visceral and so... They hammer it into us a lot.
Well, and I mean, again, there are a lot of women that Tyler victimized.
A lot, yeah. So there's a lot of victims.
And the pledge, the pledge is comparatively, I think most of them were victimized probably less, but there's still a lot of them. Even if they are opting into this kind of, there is a sort of.
I mean, we were not given a teabag count, so there was probably lots of sexual assault there, even if it wasn't quite as penetrative.
Yeah.
But
it's still a violation.
Yeah, it's still a violation. It's still fucked up. Also, at least one of them was like beaten senseless and dragged to the ER. So
yeah,
it's pretty. I mean,
maybe we're up to let's go 8.
And those were goddamn men, right? And so it's like it's one thing when you're an 18-year-old child and you're getting, broken to be a part of a brotherhood. It's another thing when you're like 35 and this is happening to you.
This is like the non-trad frat.
So a recent 8 that we gave, the Diora Baird episode, it sucked that D-Bag Rape Boy was going to be the last guy to lay pipe in McCallum County. Witness. That we gave an 8 to. We also gave an 8 to the Michael Emerson, Erica Alexander episode Ritual.
We can't go 8 on this. Well, fuck. I mean, both of those have such egregious things happening in them. And like...
I mean, was this not egregious?
But, okay, we're dealing with genocide in the Congo.
True.
And fucking child sex slaves being...
Yeah, you're right. That is a tick higher. This has to be a 7.
I think the bar... Yeah, this has to be a 7. The bar is just so fun. Like, it's not like there's not a lot of awful things going on in this episode.
But it's not the same level. You're right. Even if the mass rape in the Congo was off screen, we do... hear quite a bit about it.
You really have to reckon with it for a long time. Yeah.
So basically, what we're saying here is we think that us not getting to see a greeter robot is at the same level as Eldon Henson getting raped by a wooden paddle.
There was a lot of other stuff going on in Real Fake News. I mean, there's kind of the entire decline of our fucking democracy.
Okay.
Yeah.
True. Okay, so 7. So 7 gives us a 775.
Seems very high, but okay.
I feel like this was so problematic, Josh. I mean,
it's super problematic. I'm not saying it's not. But.
It's not like what is higher? What's the last one we did that was higher than this? That'll be an interesting. The last one we did that was higher than this, is that for real? So
That's why I'm saying 775 is high.
yeah, Webb
It's
was
like
a 7.5.
second or third highest.
Webb was a 7.5. And Webb was obviously one that we really enjoyed. The last one that was higher was the first episode of the Kragan saga, Rhodium Knights, which that was an 8.25. And before that, the last one, I mean, 775 really is putting it into rarefied air. I mean,
I don't think it's that good. I think overall quality, we need to drop down to a 6.
okay, I'm fine with that. Let's see where that's. I mean,
it's only going to knock it down to 7.5, but this is not more fun than Webb.
No, it's not. It really isn't. Webb.
And it's not more problematic than Webb. Like Webb is probably like an 11 on the problematic scale.
I mean, it gets there in a slightly different way, but this is very problematic, Josh. I mean,
I agree. I'm not saying it's not, but like if we've done the most problematic episode, it's got to be Webb.
Yeah, probably. You're probably right. Webb was really a standout in that regard.
I mean, how many pictures of a shirtless Connor Paolo
there were thousands.
There were thousands.
Yeah, but
thousands plastering a fucking wall in a school.
But we saw the greatest tennis player of all time getting date raped in this one.
That's true. That's true.
Okay, so yeah, 7.5. Again, we're doing that like post scoring editing, which I don't love to do, but I think you're.
I don't love to do it. But
I think it's justified. I don't. Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think it can come out better than Webb. Now, Webb. For some reason, we said that the depth and breadth of Lives Ruined was not very high in Webb, but was not. We gave it a 4.
Yeah, I know, because it's relatively limited.
Yeah, there are no murders in that one. Yeah. So I guess you're right. Still kind of fucked up. Now, are we ready to roll the next one, Josh?
Okay. So we are firing up the randomizer. We're going to episode.lol, fueled by flat. Woo. Clicking on it, the tape is spinning.
Bill and Ted are entering the phone booth.
They are. They really hate this part. And we've got ourselves an episode from season 1. It's episode 22. The overview is: after a shopkeeper brings a note for help to the squad, the detectives begin to try to locate a young Romanian woman named Elena, only to find her aunt who hasn't seen the girl in months. The squad eventually finds her at the home of the Moros, a successful yuppie couple. A forensic psychologist is also analyzing the team and presents disturbing findings to Kragan, suggesting that one of the detectives be removed from the team. Now, this episode features Andrew McCarthy.
Yes, it does.
And I believe that this is actually the slave in a box under the bed episode that Adam has in the past referred to as being with James Spader.
It is. It's because Andrew McCarthy is playing the James Spader role in this episode.
Yes.
So as opposed to being like the yuppie shithead with the heart of gold, he's playing the kind of evil, malicious yuppie shithead. So I'm sorry, I got my Pretty in Pink yuppies confused.
Yeah.
And then, of course, this is the episode that I think Michelle Hurd gets in trouble, or Monique Jeffries gets in trouble and is forced to leave the unit.
Yeah, that's
eventually.
who they're referencing.
Yeah. This is one of those like inner circle stunt casting episodes that Andrew McCarthy, if I remember, I haven't seen this in years, but if I remember correctly,
it's been a long time.
He is so over the top, and I cannot wait, because I don't think that we've really seen one of those high period stunt casts yet. Like Hayden Panettiere wasn't a star yet when Hooked came out. But fucking Andrew McCarthy was in like every fucking 80s movie a decade and a half before this episode was made. So
yeah, this is one of the very like the mountaintop.
Yeah,
one of the top of the mountain, like apex of stunt casting.
Anyways, guys, we got to get out of here. Josh needs to get some test results, and so we're all going to be keeping our fingers crossed by the time you guys listen. Hopefully everything will be much better. That is the goal. I need to drive through Houston rush hour back to my house with my child and my dog. Because I just realized what time it is, and I'm fucked. I'm totally fucked.
Yeah, you're boned. No, it's Good Friday. You'll actually be okay.
Maybe. I don't know.
Be out.
No,
we were out this morning during rush hour. There's no one out on the roads.
Yeah, but like up there in in Minneapolis, everybody's fucking Lutheran. They all still believe. Like down here, the only thing they believe in is fucking petroleum dollars.
Yeah, but there was days were off for school. Like you'll be fine.
Okay.
You don't have anything to worry about.
Well.
Okay, so yeah, follow us on the socials, rate and review the podcast.
Please.
Yeah. Munch our Bensons.
Absolutely. Every time. Keep on munching, guys.
You kids need to cut that shit out this instant.